Let's talk about HIV and AIDS, the reality of it, especially when it comes from the person you loved the most. Love is a beautiful thing, or at least that's what I believed. Sometimes I wonder if real love is only experienced by a chosen few because my first love felt real. It felt pure. It felt like forever. We met in high school. I was in Form 3, he was in Form 4, both of us in a national school. You know that kind of puppy love, the innocent, intense, and full of dreams. That's what we had. We talked about marriage before we even knew what adulthood looked like. We believed that as long as we loved each other, everything else would fall into place. During midterms and holidays, we found every excuse to see each other, even if it meant getting home late and facing lectures from our parents. It didn't matter. Being together was worth it. We took things slow, or at least I thought we did. I believed I knew him. I trusted him completely. I mean, he was the man of my dreams. After he finished his national exams, I wanted to give him a special surprise. I thought intimacy was the ultimate proof of love, the greatest gift a girl could give. And looking back now, I realize how naive I was, how easily we are taught that sacrifice equals devotion. After that night, he told me it meant our relationship had reached another level. He said he loved me even more, and I believed each and every word. Oh my, Noel had way with words that made me feel special, chosen, and safe. I mean, what did Rihanna sing in her song? I want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world, something along those lines. And Noel made me feel like that. He made me feel like his queen. He made me experience love that I thought was okay, that I thought I'm being delusional, if you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, his results came back and he passed with flying colors. He got into university to study medicine and surgery. I was super proud, of course, and I thought I had found a responsible man, someone who would build a stable future for us. We even named our future children. I mean, if this is not love, what is that? Later on, I also finished high school, passed my exams, and got into university to study law. A doctor and a lawyer. It sounded like the perfect combination. We felt unstoppable. I mean, please, DJ, play me Unstoppable by Sia. Anyway, so campus life made us carefree. We were adults now, living independently, making our own decisions. We became more intimate, often without protection. We weren't too worried because we thought if anything happened, we were mature enough to handle it. Then, in my second year, first semester, I realized I was pregnant. I was terrified when I called him, but he sounded calm, supportive, and he told me that everything would be okay and that we had already said we would be ready if it happened. So he came over later that day and I felt relieved. At least I thought to myself that I'm not alone. Soon after, I went for my first antenatal visit, of course. They did routine tests, including blood work. And when the nurse told me to go to the counseling room, I actually didn't think much of it. I just assumed it was standard procedure for pregnant women. Wow. Now, the counselor started talking about living positively. I'm like, okay, I do that every day, girl. Yeah, I mean, life is super hard right now, and the only thing we have to do is to live positively and to hold on to hope. Which, of course, I know you know that is not what the counselor meant. And she just looked at me and she was like, Nami, you know what? Denial is super normal. And she then told me that I was HIV positive. I genuinely thought she had mixed up the results. I told her she must have the wrong patient. I mean, that's so not me. I'm not HIV positive. How can that even be possible? I had no history of HIV. How could that be possible? I mean, you'll understand the questions that were rushing through my mind? Yeah, definitely. I left that room in shock and immediately called my boyfriend. I expected him to panic, to be confused, just something. But he was strangely calm. He told me to go to another hospital for a second test, which I did, and the test came out the same, HIV positive. Imagine finding out you're pregnant and HIV positive at the same time. Damn, my entire world collapsed in one day. I went home, switched off my phone, shut out everyone, and just wanted to sleep, hoping I would just wake up and find it was all like a nightmare. He came the next day, worried because he couldn't reach me, and when I told him the results, he hugged me tightly. He asked me if I had eaten. I was like, no, I had no appetite after receiving the news. I mean, who could have an appetite after you just heard that you're HIV positive and all that, right? So he cooked for me, made sure I ate, and stayed with me. And for a moment, I felt safe. I thought this was what true love looked like, standing by someone at their worst. And again, my dear listener, I knew I had backed I had the man like that every woman would dream of. You understand? Yeah, but you're gonna realize that that's not the case. Anyway, so back to my story. The following day was on a Friday. He had classes and promised to come back after and spend the whole weekend with me. I waited for him, holding on to that promise like a lifeline. Saturday night around 9 p.m., he sat me down and said he needed to tell me something. I thought he was going to break up with me because of my diagnosis. I thought he even started having doubts and thinking that I cheated on him, and that's how I got HIV positive. And maybe he started doubting that if he's the father of my child. I mean, all these thoughts came rushing to me, and I started gaslighting myself, thinking that if we broke up, then I would be the reason to blame if we fell out and all that. But anyway, what came afterwards is gonna shock you as well. So instead, he said something that shattered me in a way I didn't even know was possible. He told me that he had always been HIV positive. Always been HIV positive. That he got it from his mom at birth. Of course, it's not his fault. I understand. He had no control over that. Of course. That he had been living with it his whole life, and that he didn't tell me because he was afraid I would leave him. He said he couldn't afford to lose me, so he chose to keep it a secret. In that moment, everything made sense, and nothing made sense at all. I don't know if you all understand what I'm trying to say, because the man I trusted most had taken away my right to choose, my right to protect myself and my future.
Look, Nami, I'm ready to talk this journey with you. We can still be happy and live positively. Our child won't get infected. You don't have to worry about anything, Nami.
Live positively together. Oh my days. Have you ever felt like just smacking the oh, I don't want to curse right now, but yeah. What do you mean live positively together and you didn't even give me the choice to choose if I wanted to? But all I could feel was betrayal, to be very honest. Rage, grief. I felt like the ground beneath me had disappeared. I just told him to leave. And when he refused, trying to be a gentleman, talking about I can't leave you right now, this is the time you need me the most, how can I walk out, blah blah blah. You know what? I had to call the caretaker to remove him. It was super chaotic, messy, and painful, but I couldn't breathe with him in that room. I just felt like I don't know him anymore. Who's Noel? Who's this man standing in front of me? So yeah, the commotion. With all the commotion, the caretaker had to call my mom. She just held me. We hugged so tightly and we cried. We just cried until there was no tears left. At first, she felt like she failed as a mom. And why is all this happening to her only daughter? Of course, I was the only child at home, and it was just a whole mixed emotions from both our ends as we are trying to see who we're gonna blame for these predicaments and all that. But the crying really helped us release a lot of anger, a lot of grief, and a lot of emotions that we couldn't understand. So now she took me home, helped me start therapy, and helped me focus on my health and my baby. Today I'm still healing. I have a beautiful, healthy child who is deeply loved by my family. My parents have been my greatest support system through everything. And as for Noel, I had to cut him out of my life completely. Protecting my mental health became my priority. I mean, he was selfish enough to not tell me that he was HIV positive, talking about wanting to keep me for himself. Who even does that? That's psychotic. So I chose to be selfish with my mental health as well. I didn't want to be surrounded by someone whom I barely know and calling him my man, my husband. I felt so mad about it. I mean, every time I sit down and I think about it, I get eh, a new flash of anger. It's like I'm never going to heal or get over this. But like I said, I'm in therapy and it's baby steps. That's all I can say. Now, as for his son looks just like him. And the more reason as to why I need to go to therapy, because every time I look at him, I see Noel. And I wouldn't want to pass any trauma to my son. I need all the strength that I can get to be a good mom. I don't want to be a bitter and a toxic parent. I mean, it wasn't my son's fault that his father was the person he turned out to be. And I had to get a restraining order for Noel as well because he started threatening me, stalking me after I had given birth to our son. And like I said, I just wasn't in a position to look at him. And I still am not in that position. So I don't even feel guilty for taking that restraining order for him. He'll be able to see his son whenever I'm ready and healed. I guess that's selfish, but like I said, I'm choosing to be selfish as well. So I'm sharing this story not for pity, but for awareness. Love does not protect you from HIV. Trust is not a substitute for testing, and silence can change someone's life forever. So we should normalize testing with our partners before intimacy, during the relationship, and regularly. If someone truly loves you, they will care enough to protect your health and not gamble with it. So, yes, choose love, but also choose yourself. Remember, love won't protect you from diseases like HIV.